Hey guys, Angry Old Man here. Well, today was not one of those crazy chasing a PR days. It was the probably the boringest of type runs. It was the AT or the aerobic threshold run. I cranked out a total of about a half marathon's worth of miles, and I kept my heart rate right in the old green zone as best I could. There was a couple small hills that when I climbed them, it pushed me, just edged me up into the next zone up, and of course, when I started out, I was down in the blue zone, but for the most part, it was in the green zone, which you need that from time to time to allow you a chance to recover, let your body adjust, heal up some of the muscle tissue that you've been pushing real hard on. A funny note, both Emily and I really did push ourselves when we were sort of competing, doing our 400 repeats, and we're both kind of feeling that this week. Anyway, today's discussion is going to be more on like nutrition, and not nutrition on a grand scale. That is one of those way beyond the scope of what a 7 to 10 minute video could cover. If you are having issues with nutrition while you're running, you're either not able to shed weight, or you're putting on weight, or you're losing too much weight. There are plenty of resources out there in the medical community and in the sports health community where you can look at a dietitian or a nutritionist to help you get on board. My focus is actually more in the race, which was my downfall for the longest time. I just could not get the rhythm right on fueling during a run, a marathon specifically. Everybody knows that or should know, one of the main sources of nutrition are energy gels when you're running. Typically, you take one a few minutes before the race, and then you take them every so often through the race. And what that does is it helps you replenish or give your body access to glycogen, so you don't burn everything up that's in your muscles and around your liver and all that stuff. Glycogen, a sugar, is basically the fuel your body runs on. Again, not going to get into the science of it. It's, if you want to research some of the mechanics in the body, it is a very in-depth topic. There are numerous college level courses and that cover specifically sports nutrition and how the body functions. I would be way out of my depth and way crazy outside of my area of expertise to dabble too deeply in those. Specifically, most people will recall using gels when they run. I have a few here. Well, I dropped one. But anyway, this one is a popular brand. It's called Huma. I'm not advocating, because these are athletes have as varied result with individual brand named products and product styles as you would expect. Cars, and vehicles use different types of fuel when they operate. You could not conceivably put airplane gas into your grocery getter and expect it to function the way it's supposed to. These products are very much like that. They work better with some people than others. Certain brands, certain styles will work better than others, and it is a painful process to learn which one is the best for you. Typically, you kind of have to run a race to see if it works, and or do enough long runs and things like that where you deplete your glycogen and have to keep going and fueling as you go to learn how those things react with your body. I use Huma because I do have some digestive issues, and the base of Huma is a much more gentle on my digestive tract. I don't have some of the more noxious side effects I do from other products. This product, Goose, and there's a variety of them. It's GU. This is just one. They have a variety of bells and whistles. It's sort of it's one of the older energy gels out there. It is a good place to start if you don't know where or what you're dabbling in, and you want to try something when you're working out. They're pretty readily available at most like running stores. They're available on the internet, various shopping websites, things like that. You can find them GU. They come in a variety of flavors. I find them to give me quite a bit of digestive distress. It's in the nature of the beast. When you take a lot of them, it seems to have those effects, and that's why I used them for a long time, because I really didn't know much about the other brands and didn't have a good line on what the other ones were, and it took me some experimenting to see if they would be any good for me. Lots of flavors to choose from and lots of bells and whistles. Again, with these kind of products, you're going to look at some additional costs to your running. You will need something to fuel with. Now, one of the things that I like to let people know is, you know, you don't have to constantly use these high-end products. There's a lot of other things you can use in the meantime. These are just very efficient. They're very time-tested. Certainly you should practice with them if you're going to use them in a race, especially like me, where I'm on my quest to qualify for Boston. So I really try to be the most efficient that I can be on the race course on the day of the race. And these are just, they pack well. I can drop them in pockets, in my little running belt. A lot of races hand them out as you're running. So you get these little packets. And my advice is always, if the race is handing them out, don't dip into your own pocket. Use the one they hand you and keep going. Except at the last race, there was a couple of people handing them out, and they had flavors I knew I did not like. And you're like, oh well, it's just one flavor. But well, you know, when you're running a marathon and you're getting near depletion, you start to feel nauseous anyway. And the last thing you want is something to exacerbate that. I got lucky and saw other volunteers handing out flavors that I did like, so I could just, thank you, no, I'm going to grab this, guys, or you yell out, you know, woohoo, jackpot, and grab like my favorite flavor and keep going. That's what you kind of want to do, and then, you know, rely on yours. How often should you take them when you're running? Well, most of the packets advise like every 40 to 45 minutes, one before the race, like 5-10 minutes before the race, and then one every 40-45 minutes. That never worked for me. In fact, I crashed and burned every single time I followed that pattern, until I hit Newport News, the Newport News Marathon, and took one like every 30 minutes. And when I realized I was starting to deplete at about mile 22 or so, I started taking them more often. I took like 4 inside, like I think it was almost every 15 minutes I was running, and I didn't crash and burn. It was amazing. First time I'd ever run a marathon. Now my legs were fatigued, and I had a conditioning issue, which is, you know, another whole thing, but I didn't hit the wall. And that was the first time I'd ever run a long distance, like a marathon or a 50K, and didn't end up a slobbering mess on the ground. So I was amazed, and I was very proud of myself just for that accomplishment. And that's what you have to learn to do, and it takes just practice. Now, they are expensive, and it's very hard for the average Joe who is a runner to, you know, put that kind of investment into essentially candy. So what I recommend is that when you go out, use other things, but follow the same basic pattern. You can go and buy a fun size pack of Snickers bars, and they will do the job. Not as well But back in the days before we understood a lot of things that we do now, that is common knowledge in sports nutrition, that's what a lot of the hardcore marathoners and ultra runners used. Snickers bars, Milky Way bars, candy bars of all kinds, shapes and size. These were these were the staples of running. Before Gatorade, they drank soda pop, and while not ideal, it will do the job mostly. There's other things to consider, but you know, there's other products out there that you might find that are more affordable. I like to cruise the running shops and things like that and look in their clearance section. A lot of these products have use by dates, and when they get close, bike stores, running stores, they put them on clearance, and I'll go buy as many as I can throw into a bag or reasonably afford at the time. So, you know, that's just some, real middle-class parenting advice there. Another thing you need to consider in your nutrition is your electrolyte balance. Now, you can drink the Gatorades, Powerades, assorted electrolyte drinks that you can buy, Pedialyte. They do work well for hydration. But if you've ever run on a really hot day and then your legs get all crampy, you might need some other supplements. Now, I used to take a name brand, but the company unfortunately has not been able to produce any for quite a while. So I went and found something that was very similar. They're about $10 on the internet for a pack of them. On hot days or days that I know I'm going to be just sweating all over the place, which is, pretty much every serious run, I pop one or two in during my workout, and it helps me avoid the cramps. My first marathon, oh boy, I got an electrolyte crash, and when I crossed the line, I was just a crampy mess. I couldn't move my legs without them like just trying to wrap up around my neck like a pretzel. So honestly, guys, look into they call them sometimes salt tabs, but what you're looking for is potassium, magnesium, and just good old salt mixed into a little capsule or something. There's so many brands. Off brands, just look for one that has decent reviews on any of the selling sites, and you should be okay. There is another products. There are some other products that are they fall into unusual categories. Oops, sorry, that's upside down. This is a leftover. They're no longer in production, but I had bought a large quantity of them, and I'm still kind of chipping away at them. Now, these products are sort of neither nor. They're starch based, or they have quite a bit of sugary stuff in them without sugar. I don't understand the science behind it, and I'm not even going to pretend to. But what they do is they let the glycogen get back into your system, and they also help hydrate you. You can buy those. UCAN is a brand name that you can look for, but there are other brands. I personally cannot get over the texture and taste of UCAN, but some people just like it, and I don't like some foods that people love, and vice versa. It's the whole, some people like liver and onions, some people don't. You don't find too many people that just shrug and go, I'll take it or leave it. So anyway, there's some other products that you can use when you train. They are expensive, so, you do what you have to do, but don't put yourself in a financial bind when you really don't need to. Specifically, your body has generally, and this is very general, enough glycogen, gas in your tank to operate for about 20 miles, give or take. The more fit you are, the more efficient you are, the less you weigh, a lot of factors, the more bang you get for your buck, much like an automobile. A little tiny car with a little tiny engine can drive, can get 58, 60 miles to a gallon. A big, giant pickup truck with oversized tires and a big V10 engine in it is going to get much lower fuel miles, especially if it's carrying a bunch of weight. So the same goes for people, more or less. Anyway, so do what works for you, but you will have to experiment. And don't put yourself in a financial bind. There's other options. One guy I know, and I have all the deepest respect, I've seen him running with a donut in one hand, and he just does it. You don't really need to fuel like that. Fuels like that for things like 5Ks, and really not even 10Ks. There's not a whole lot of time in a 10K to worry about burning up all your glycogen. Hydration is more important in, say, a really hot day 10K than glycogen and fuel. But once you hit the half marathon, you might consider using something like that just to give you a little edge at the beginning of the race, or maybe, at a turnaround point. But it's not something you really have to worry about. When I run half marathons and I fuel, I'm actually just practicing for a marathon. I will, every 30 minutes, I will practice ripping open the gel pack, squirting it down my pie hole, because as you can tell, with a beard like I have, it turns into a big old syrupy, gooey mess when some of this stuff leaks out. I'm always trying new products. I'm always, looking for something that's a little bit better or gives me a little bit better edge. I need every bit of help I can get. My feet just don't work well in the fancy, fast super shoes. So I have to, wear my big, super cushiony padded things. So I don't get a lot of edge from that end. I have to look at other things that give me a bit of an edge when I'm pushing hard. Certainly for marathons and ultras, but even ultras, once they pass a certain point, those guys like eat full meals on the fly. They're amazing, amazing athletes. To see a guy running an 8-minute or 8:15 pace, eating a burger or something is just amazing to me. But they do it. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed that little talk about nutrition. I know I went on a little longer than usual, but those are some things. If you have any questions about nutrition or have any suggestions, or maybe I said something I'm completely wrong on, go ahead and leave it in the comments. I will be happy to correct myself, or would be happy to discuss it with you. I hope you have a great day. I hope you had a fun run today. The weather's been nice here for the last couple of days. We're about to get to the more bad weather coming our way. So, But anyway, I may be a little scarce for a few days because I am working pretty much open to close at the shop for the foreseeable future. So if I miss a day or two along the way, don't worry. I'm just really limited on time, and I got to get my training runs in. We're getting close to rim to rim. Anyway, guys, thanks a lot. I do appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you have a great day. And as I always say, run angry, my friends.